Hi, I'm Joel Godi, the founder of NeuroGifted, a full stack consulting company that specializes in neurodiversity and the practice of neuroinclusion. As a neurodivergent individual, I recognize that there is a lot of work to be done in this area, and there is a long way to go in order to achieve true neuroinclusion. But the progress we have made thus far since our inception in 2015 has been quite encouraging. Now, as an autistic and an ADHD myself, and having faced barriers and systemic exclusion right through, whether it is in family, society, education, and workplace, that has affected me greatly and occupied most of my mental space in adulthood. And as an L&D professional and a social psychologist, in my work, I could clearly see the huge gaps that exist in the mainstream world's understanding of the human brain and how it impacts our society and workplaces. Everyone was talking about DEI and trying out different things, which is very good, of course. But I believe that they are missing the most critical part of inclusion, and that is neuroinclusion. When talking of people, we must remember that the brain is an inalienable part of the human being, and it is central to how that individual exists in relation to this world. Now, all other identities come later: gender, ethnicity, culture, everything. So it was inevitable for me, and only a matter of time that I would eventually turn to do something about neuroinclusion, which I finally did in 2015, where I founded NeuroGifted. And over the years, we have grown in our work, and in the last 8 years, we found, particularly post-pandemic, that there is a growing interest in this space. Now, as far as neuroinclusion is concerned, there are so many challenges, but just to name a couple of them. First, 90% of all neurodivergence is invisible. So it is very difficult to argue for something that others cannot see or recognize directly. Second, there are also the socio religious and cultural factors that are very dominant in our societies, where neurodivergent conditions have been traditionally looked down on and are wrongly thought of as some kind of a disease, and nothing can be further from the truth. Simply put, neurodiversity is the difference in how a person receives, processes, and transmits information. In that sense, each person is different because their brain is different, much like our fingerprints. And there is no standard or normal brain. So, yes, we did overcome a few challenges, and we found that the best way to start is by building awareness and sensitization in society and in educational and organizational settings. But when we do that, most times we find that people are generally receptive and are surprised to know the facts of neurodiversity and how it affects them personally and professionally. Once this foundational knowledge is established, then we can move on to talking about neuroinclusion as a practice in daily life. The DEI ecosystem, it has come a long way. I am happy to see that now people are beginning to open up to other aspects of diversity. Earlier, it was only about gender or ethnicity, but now we are talking about neurodiversity. The truth is that neurodiversity must be at the core of any DA agenda to be successful. It is what connects the rest of the diversities, and I believe the time has come for that to happen. And as far as this hackathon is concerned, a certification like this that recognizes the efforts of workplaces is a great way to encourage change makers. It is also a good platform for exchange of ideas and best practices where we can learn from each other's experiences and get better at achieving our inclusion goals.